Are you ready to relive the past? Well, step right up. We have Atari, PlayStation, Nintendo, Sega. Get ready for a wild ride. Don't go anywhere, stay tuned. Get ready to take a trip down memory lane. That table can only mean one thing. We'll be showing off some crazy video game finds that I found over at Game Exchange over in Wallingford, Connecticut. There's a few games I picked up over from a store in Japan too, which I didn't. Of course, I did not travel to Japan, but I actually bought a few Mega Drive games. Just the lighting right here. So let's start off with a few here. The first one I picked up was an Atari 2600 game. This is a copy of Combat, but I've never seen a copy of Combat with an end label like that before. That's kind of weird. So, over at Game Exchange in Connecticut, in Wallingford, Connecticut, they have like a gazillion copies of Combat, but I've never seen a copy of Combat that looked like that. Now, I already own a copy of Combat, of course. Actually, I own 2 copies of Combat. They're like right over there. You can see those 2 right there. And, you can see a lot of the Atari games I bought. Some of them came from Game Exchange, because they actually still sell Atari games, which I think is awesome. There's also another Atari game that I picked up. Quick Step. I did pick this one up from Game Exchange also the same day. I took 2 different trips down there. So this is 2 Atari games I picked up over at Game Exchange. Really cool. The next game I picked up is an NES game. It's in really, really good shape. Look at this. Nice and clean. Tag Team Wrestling. I used to own this on the Atari 2600 back in the day. This game is hard as hell. I definitely remember playing this quite a bit. When you wrestle your opponents, if your opponent gets pissed off, he starts blinking red and he beats the crap out of you. The next game that I picked up from Game Exchange, awesome store by the way. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Tournament Fighters for Sega Genesis. No manual, but hey, the price was good on it. I think I paid probably like around $10 or so. And see if we can adjust that right there so we can see everything that we have. And this is now my new favorite gaming store. So you can walk in, immediately to the right they have like a cabinet that has like all different like really cool video game stuff that's expensive. And then they have a shelf for Sega Genesis, NES, Super Nintendo, Atari. They have all kinds of stuff there. In fact, I went there yesterday, and they had Odyssey games, like Odyssey cartridges, which is really, really crazy. I thought I would never see such a thing, but it's pretty awesome. Alright, so the next batch of games that I bought were Dreamcast games. I definitely went there to purchase Dreamcast and N64 games. Most of my N64 library, all the American games, came from Game Exchange. So, without any further ado, let's show off the Dreamcast games here. Now, these all came from Game Exchange. Got Coaster Works. And this game is rather inexpensive, so I got it for like maybe around $5 or something like that. Centipede. Now at the Game Exchange over in Wallingford, Connecticut, they have like a little shelf that it's basically a shelf designed for employees that work there. They give their suggestion on what to buy, and they have like a mixed bag of various different games that you can choose from. And I think that's actually pretty cool. So one of the employees put this game up there, and I love me some Atari games, so I love Dreamcast also, so can't go wrong with that. I picked that one up. We got Sarge's Men, Army Men, Sarge's Hero, that is. Alright, so we got that. And you see this probably used to be that looks like a GameStop tag or something like that, but I don't recall how much I paid for this one, but their prices are all reasonably priced. They're usually better than online pricing. This one right here I did pay probably the most for. It was $99.
Basically what happened was I traded a lot of duplicate games in, and I ended up getting this game along with a lot of other games for like hardly nothing, because I had like $300 and something store credit. Let me check this out. Resident Evil 2 for Dreamcast. That's not a common game at all. That's actually pretty awesome. Then we got Resident Evil Code Veronica, which was $25 over at Game Exchange. What an awesome store. Game Exchange is actually 2 hours away from where I'm at right here in New York. So I drive like 2 hours to go over there. My parents live over there, so anytime I visit my parents, I usually stop over there and check out what they have. In fact, they told me that I spoke to one of the guys that work there. They may okay me bringing my camera, this one right here, to go film and show off the store. So if they give me the okay, I'll drive back over there eventually, and we'll be able to actually take a little tour around the store, what they have. It's a really, really cool store. They have not only video games, but they have movies and stuff like that. Grandia 2 for the Dreamcast. I picked this up, and these RPG games are usually a little bit more obscure, more expensive, but this was actually like only $20, I think, $25. And then we have a great racing game here for Dreamcast, Metropolis Street Racer. And this game in particular was the first Project Gotham racing game, technically. So if I can back this up a little bit, you can see the stack of games we got from Game Exchange. Look at that. So that by itself, we actually forgot one game here. Let me see if I can show this one off. And these I picked all these up at one shot, like probably maybe last week I picked those up. And I also picked up a PlayStation game. Could not resist. I saw this there in Thrashers Skate and Destroy, one of my favorite skating games. I might have said racing game, but it's not a racing game, it's a skating game. This game is definitely hands down my favorite skating game on the PlayStation. What a great game this is. It's in pristine condition too, so nice and no broken cases. Nothing like that. Actually, it's cracked a little bit right here, but it's definitely worth the $19.95 that I paid for it. A long time ago, probably early 2000s, Walmart had this on sale for $9.99, and I guess they were trying to get rid of them because, of course, Tony Hawk was more popular. So I bought it for $9.99, not knowing much about it, and since then I actually loved the game. But of course, there was a time where I probably either traded the game in at a Funkoland or something like that, or there was one time my house got broken into and a lot of my games got stolen. So that game might have been stolen during that time. So let's move these over for one moment. I just don't want these to fall down. Look at this. It's got a big stack of stuff going on here. Alright, so I also picked up a few Japanese Mega Drive games from a eBay store. Take a look at what we have here. We have a sumo wrestling game that's exclusive to the Mega Drive. We'll check that out sometime in the future. I don't know exactly what it's called, but see, that's the label right there. Check that out. And then we have Golden Axe 3, and I bought the cartridges bare without the cases because if you buy this game with an actual case, it's $150 average to actually get a hold of this game complete. So, you know, the usual Japanese store that I usually buy from, they sold this to me for like $45, which is actually a great price for that game. And these two games didn't come from Game Exchange, but yeah, Game Exchange is my favorite physical gaming store to go to. So we have a few more games that I picked up from Game Exchange. Let's check it out. We have a Twisted Edge Extreme Snowboarding, which I never played this before, but I love skating and snowboarding games. We'll have to check that out. We have a Shadow Man for the 64 right there. And we have the first battle tanks, and someone just had to write their name on there. And usually I don't buy cartridges that have like names or, you know, stuff written over them, but you know, it's United States, it's America. This is usually the typical condition that you find old cartridges in, so I wanted to play Battle Tanks, and I bought it. It's definitely not Game Exchange's fault, because all the stuff that they have on for sale is all used old games, so they have a huge, great selection of various different games. And got Army Men Air Combat. Now, one thing that I didn't notice is that a lot of the contacts were pretty dirty, but it's no big deal. I used I used copper cleaner, which is a little paste that I bought from Target to clean all the contacts. These games work perfect. So Game Exchange sells some pretty good stuff. And then we have Army Men Sergeant's Hero, and I also have the Dreamcast version over here somewhere. So I bought both the N64 and the Dreamcast version of that same exact game. Let's see what else we have here. We have a few other N64 games. We have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, and this is in pretty good shape. It's not bad at all. And we have Doom 64. Now, they had this in a special case right there on the front where they usually have the register. Just laying there, and I was like, you know what? I want to buy that game. So I bought that game, and this is another bag, which all this stuff I bought probably last week, for the exception I bought these a while ago. They were shipped over, but all this Game Exchange stuff I bought in one lot. I bought it like last week, and yesterday I bought more, and you'll never believe what I found in the Game Exchange. I mean, check this out. Japanese Sega Saturn game. I mean, check that out. They actually had this over in that Game Exchange, and this is Fatal Fury. And I own a lot of Sega Saturn games that are Japanese, but I just happen not to own this game. And they had probably like 4 or 5 other Japanese Saturn games over there too. But this is incredible. I never thought I would see Japanese Sega Saturn games over at Game Exchange, but that is really cool. So kudos to Game Exchange over in Wallingford, Connecticut, for having Japanese Sega Saturn games. That is incredible. That's awesome. Good job. Now, I also bought some more N64 games. So I'm pretty big on collecting N64 games. In fact, if you look up there, these are all my N64 games currently right now, and I have them in like little plastic cases. So they all have like little end labels on them, on the cases. So there's plenty of room for more N64 games, which I'm trying to build up a collection. I have plenty of N64 games. Let's back the camera up here. Let's see what we have here. And like I said, I own Japanese N64 games, which I usually import from Japan. And I own plenty of American N64 games, which I bought mostly at Game Exchange. And start off with this right here. We got Star Soldier, Vanishing Earth. I never actually played this before. Well, it's 1995. I guess this is a little bit more of an obscure N64 game. The label is a little weathered right there. You can see right here, looks like we have something going on right here from the plastic bag. And I'll clean the contacts later. These I have not cleaned yet, but see, that's exactly what the label. I usually peel the labels off with the pricing. And one thing I like about Game Exchange is their labels are easy to come off. There is labels like Funkoland or GameStop that they're not so easy to come off. This is Chameleon Twist. It was $14.95. Another not so common N64 game. Got that one right there. And you can see I do most of my shopping. I spend most of my paycheck over at Game Exchange. And that's how you see what the receipt looks like. That's their address right there. It's was it 1245 South Broad Street, Wallingford, Connecticut. It takes about 2 hours for me to drive over there, and they have an email address right there. They also have an website. I guess Michael was the one that helped me out at the register. And they have various different warranties on their games, even though they're used. So if you're having issues with them, you can actually return the game back and they'll help you out with that. I got California Speed. And this is actually interesting. This came from Blockbuster. And usually I don't like buying games with a whole bunch of sticky things on it, like stickers and all that stuff, but so you know what, this is a nice vintage Blockbuster rental cartridge. I'll clean the pins on it. It probably works perfectly fine. And I love Midway games on N64. You can see it definitely needs a good cleaning. And I paid $9.95 for that, so N64 games are going up in price. Got Glover for N64. And this was $7.95. That's actually a pretty good price for that. And the contacts look actually pretty clean on that. They're not too bad. I'll still clean them. Cartridge actually looks pretty good. There's a few little stickers here and there on it, but nothing really terrible. Most of the game exchange stuff is usually pretty clean. But, you can't stop someone from trading in something dirty, so it is what it is. We got Pokemon Snap. This is one Pokemon game that I actually did not own. I own quite a few Pokemon games, but I don't have a copy of Snap. So I have 3 different copies of Pokemon Stadium, including 2 Japanese copies. You can see someone here actually made their own end label. It's incredible. Look at that. Pokemon Snap. They even put the little mark right there above the E. It's a good job for whoever did that. And the label itself, the cartridge is in okay shape. Looks like the label is peeling off at one point. They put a little bit of scotch tape there. So this probably got a lot of play. The pins look okay. They don't look bad at all. So $12.95. So for Pokemon Snap, that's actually pretty good. I was pretty thrilled. And you see the same person, in fact I'm going to show you here. The same person that traded this game in also traded this game in. Same handwriting, same end label. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And what a great end label that is. Look at that. We have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. It's pretty clean. I'll still clean the pins a little bit, but it looks definitely very playable right away. I already owned the first Tony Hawk game on the N64. It's actually a blue cartridge, I believe. This is a yellow cartridge, which is quite different. And these all came from Game Exchange. Then we also picked up another game right here. It's called a Rocket Robot on Wheels. And I never actually played this game before. But it was $19.95. It was in their special case. The cartridge is red. Definitely a unique colored N64 cartridge. And the pins are pretty clean. They're not bad. I'll still go over them and clean them. This cartridge is in pretty good shape. Then we have another game that I picked up. Battlezone for the N64, and this cartridge has a little bit of stickiness to it. So like a previous sticker might have been here at one point. Might have been a Blockbuster game or something. Never know. We do have something right here that says WF. I'm not sure what that is. This might have been a rental, judging by how much stickers might have been on it at one time. And the pins on this are okay. They need to be cleaned a little bit. But I'm pretty sure it's going to work fine. Never played Battlezone, but it looks kind of like something like Battle Tanks, so I'm curious to try it out. I still have a few more games in here. Let's go pull out some random N64 games. We have Force Gemini. Heard some pretty good things about this game, and they're only selling it for $9.95. That's actually pretty good. So I picked that one up, and this cartridge it's in pretty good shape. Look at that, the pins are nice and clean. And then we have Extreme G2. It's like a racing game. Almost like a Wipeout or something like that. And it's a little weathered on the back, a little worn out. Yeah, the label's okay. The pins are definitely dirty. Excuse me, this one's gonna have to get cleaned before we pop it into the N64. And then we have War Gods for the N64, which was $6.95. I never played War Gods before. It's a midway game. Now, curious to try that out. So it might be some sort of fighting game or something. Give that a try. Quite a few N64 games. So we have Off-Road Challenge, another midway racing game. I don't recall having any off-road games for the N64, except for Monster Truck Madness, which that game is not the greatest, but I do have that game, so this is definitely something we're going to try out in the future. I love playing racing games on the N64, so I think that's it. Oh, actually, no. There's one more game in here. Wipeout 64, $7.95 over at Game Exchange. And they usually have buy two get one free type of thing going on here, so of course you get what you have here for quite a bit less. The only thing that they don't do buy two get one free are I believe the NES games. They might have stopped it on N64 games also. Their selection kind of dwindled down. It's not quite as much as what they usually have, but yeah, that's Game Exchange over in Wallingford, Connecticut. If you guys have a Game Exchange near you, I do recommend going there and buying some classic retro games. I mean, these guys are awesome. Really awesome store. Really cool selection of video games over there. I usually go there a few times a year at least, and I buy, like, I save up my money basically, and I just buy a whole bunch of stuff at once. Besides that, I do shop online, but you know, these guys beat online prices when it comes to a lot of classic old PlayStation games, N64 games, stuff like that. You find a lot of cool stuff in there. They even told me, I think, what was it? Not too long ago, they actually had the little Samsung NES game that showed up on their doorsteps, and they sold it for $1,200 because the game's worth a lot of money. That might have been like the most expensive game that they actually had at their location in Wallingford, which is pretty cool. That is actually pretty awesome. So, if you enjoyed this episode of Memory Lane and the huge collection of various different games that I have here, see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20 N64 games. That's incredible. So if you enjoyed this episode of Memory Lane, and if you like the Game Exchange collection that I bought here, like a whole bunch of Game Exchange games, don't forget to give a thumbs up for Game Exchange for having an awesome selection of video games, and comment down below and let me know if you want a Game Exchange over where you live, and just type down below where your location is. Who knows, they may be watching. They may have a Game Exchange open up near you soon, so stay tuned. And yeah, I love Game Exchange. What a great store this is, and I'm going to continue going there.